What's up? What's up? Jeff Lerner here. Excited to be live. I made it in just the nick of time. My live streams were about to delete. I just got back from shooting ad videos out in the freezing cold. My goodness, it was so cold. And I was rocking my successfully unemployed t-shirt, which I love, but man, was I cold. What's up, everybody? I don't have a ton of time. I'm being interviewed in 20 minutes on a show, the James Nielsen Watch show. Anyway, so I'm not prepared. I literally just rushed back into the office. What's up? What's up, everybody? So glad y'all are here. I'll tell you what, I missed you last week. If you were with me, then or if you tried to tune in last week, you know I had to cancel all my lives last week because I was in Atlanta, and the Airbnb I know, Whitney, fair enough, it's not that cold. It's cold though. I was shooting, we're recreating that coffee shop video, you know, the coffee shop one that gets let's just say, Whitney, you've made a lot of money talking to people that came in off that coffee shop video, and we just reshot it. But anyway, so yeah, last week I had crap internet service in my Airbnb in Atlanta. I had to be in Atlanta all week for some real estate stuff, and I had to clear my schedule. All my interviews, all my live streams, nothing. I couldn't stream. It was terrible. Jeff, glad to be back. Tana Hope, glad to be back. Taylor, what's up? Good to see Elizabeth, Jeff, James. Double Elizabeth, two Elizabeths. Nice to see everyone. Tremendous. Instagram, we got all kinds of stuff popping on. So the subject for today's live is basically, and again, I don't have any notes. I didn't do any prep. I just walked in, but fortunately it is something that I am a bit of an expert on that I don't need much prep for. And that is answering the question, is Entre a scam? Entre Institute, my company, where I teach people how to become an entrepreneur or to become a better entrepreneur, how to become successful in the new digital economy. Is it a scam? I bet you can guess what I'm going to say. Actually, you know what? I don't get this question nearly as much. Like when I started a little over 2 years ago, I started putting these videos out, and I had this idea for this company that was going to teach people how to be entrepreneurial and, you know, change their fortunes and get control in their life. And people are like, oh, this seems like a scam. This guy, da, da, da. Taylor, thank you. Taylor says it's not a scam. I appreciate that. And when I started, a lot of people thought it was a scam because, like, let's face it, when I started, I had like no following, no presence. It was just some random guy popping up in people's feeds. People like, who is this guy? What does he want? Why is he talking? Why does, you know, clearly he's gonna take all my money and give me nothing in return. Gosh, there's so many ways I can answer the question. And in reality, the nice thing is I don't kind of have to like be defensive about the question. I would just say, yeah. So somebody said, but you have to pay something. Well, yeah, you got to pay something. Let me tell you something. It is not the responsibility of the person who sells his wares to take responsibility for everyone in the world, whether or not they can or cannot afford those wares. The person who imports king crab from the Bering Strait in Alaska has to have it flown in via FedEx, so it's never been frozen, and then serves it fresh. I'll tell you what, Mastro's in Las Vegas, my wife and I, it's like one of our favorite restaurants. It's like $50 a pound, I think, for king crab. Is king crab a scam? Because it costs $50 for a pound of little crabby that you got to pull out of the shell? No, that's what king crab costs. And is it fair that some people can't afford king crab? No, it just means some people can't afford king crab. And that, like, you know, I think we can look at the world and go, well, am I stuck or am I not? And I would say that if you live in the Western capitalist world in the 21st century, you are the least stuck of any human population ever in all of the history of the earth. And that, I say the Western, I don't just mean like North America. I mean like westernized, open free market economy. If you're in one of those places in the current time, you are the least you're the least stuck of any humans in history. It doesn't mean that there aren't hard times and hard challenges, and that it doesn't mean we're all born at the same starting place. Bill Gates said it's not your fault if you're born poor, but it is your fault if you die poor. It like nothing's perfect, but like be grateful. Be grateful for the world we live in. Be grateful that we can get king crab here from the Bering Strait. Is it good? In fact, I'm heading down to Vegas in 2 days, and I will be eating myself some of that king crab. And I worked my butt off to be able to afford it. And king crab is not a scam. Beluga caviar is not a scam. Actually, I don't think they're allowed to harvest the sturgeon from the Caspian Sea anymore to get the beluga out. I think you have to settle for Osetra caviar, is kind of like the new gold standard of caviar. It's not a scam. It's just real expensive. We stay at the Wynn. You go down to SW Steakhouse at the Wynn, and you get the like super high end Wagyu. It's like $60 an ounce. Not a scam, just expensive, right? Listen, it's not a scam. And the nice thing again is I don't really have to defend it from this accusation that much. I did when I got started. It was funny. And I don't know, to some degree, it's because you go into the entre groups and you see like people are doing cool stuff, and there's a lot of positive feedback in the courses themselves. And I'm not some little tiny minnow in the sea anymore like I used to be. I have I have 37,000 Instagram followers. When I started, I had like 37 Instagram followers, and people are like, this guy, whatever. But I think anyway, so I'm not going to take this live to defend Entre's non-scamminess. I think that kind of speaks for itself. I'd rather talk a little bit about Entre's mission and really what I see us trying to do in this world, because I would actually argue that mainstream education for a lot of people it actually has a scam. Taylor says, yeah, Wagyu is not a scam. I know Wagyu is some good stuff, but I will say, I think mainstream education scams people in a certain way. And maybe I'll take a minute and talk about that. To me, a scam is something that simply isn't what it presents itself to be. And by the way, I see somebody responded to that comment about how I used to be a minnow in the ocean, and now I'm like a tuna. Like, I'm not the biggest thing in the ocean, but I'm like big enough that, you don't have to question if it's like a real thing. Right. But listen, it's okay. If you feel like a minnow, I want to tell you it's okay. I shot a video a couple nights ago when I was in Atlanta where I talked about the evolution of how I got from where I started to where I am. And, certainly there's still a long way to go, but I just want to encourage and embolden anybody that feels like they're too small to get traction. You're not too small to get traction. No one's too small to get traction. You could be too inconsistent to get traction. You could be, hey babe, I always get so excited when my wife sends me hearts on my lives. I do. I get like emotional for real still. I swear, I think I fall more in love with you every day, babe. I just gotta say that. But anyway, like, you could be too inconsistent to get traction. You could be too, if your value is too low, you're not going to get traction. You got to have real stuff to say, and you got to work hard to have real stuff to say. For every minute that I'm out here running my mouth online, I promise you there's 10 times as much time going about putting good stuff into my mind, reading, listening. I mean, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. By 3:45, I'm listening to an audiobook. Right now, I'll tell you the book I'm listening to right now. And it's always, right now I'm listening to this book right here. It's called Less is More. Oh, it started playing. Less is More. How Great Companies Use Productivity as a Competitive Tool in Business. Why? Because I'm trying to build a great company and get us to use productivity as a competitive tool in business. We've passed 100 people on staff now, between staff, vendors, contractors. We're building a juggernaut of a company, and it is very, 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 and by the way, scam companies, they don't have 100 plus people on payroll. They don't get to our size without imploding, or without getting getting a big target on their back. Like if we were at the size they leave the country, I'd choose a different country to live in, because you don't want to be in the United States running some big high profile public education scam online. You get your ass thrown in jail for reals. I literally know people that have run big internet scams, and they do not have a happy life now. But I'm listening to that book. By 3:45 this morning, I was listening to that book because I'm trying to get better. You know what? I've never been the CEO of a company this size, certainly not where we're going. My point is, at 3:45, while most people was sleeping, I was listening to an audiobook on business development, trying to level up as a leader. I'm obsessed with learning. And so when I talk, it's about a 10-to-1 ratio of learning versus teaching, or consuming versus projecting. And if you don't have that dynamic in your life, you might struggle to get traction. But there is no rule that says you're too small. There's no rule that says you're too small. You know what happened to me today? I've been sending, you guys know of a guy named Grant Cardone? I've been sending Grant direct messages for a while, just kind of checking in lightly, trying not to act too desperate. Just like, hey, Jeff Lerner, you might remember me. 10X rule had a big effect on me. And, I'm kind of making some progress. Hey, I'd really love to get you on the show and this and that. Anyway, finally started getting replies today. Got the email, got his booking agent. Gonna talk about getting him on Millionaire Secrets. May happen, may not. But the point is, like, slow and steady. I started messaging him 18 months ago, just a little bit at a time. And you grow and you push and you grow and you push and you grow and you push. And most people just stop. That's why they don't get the traction. Anyway, I was going to talk about how education is the scam for some people. Education, because I feel like it doesn't deliver what it presents. Man, Guero, that is such a good idea that I should interview my parents. I have been thinking about that. To be honest, my parents are dealing with some health stuff right now, and it wouldn't be a good time. But like when it's the right time, I completely agree with that. But education to me is not what it presents, because the implicit contract in education is that it's going to deliver you security. What's up, Brian Magnosi, my man? Did you see our podcast, our interview, the Millionaire Secrets show just came out last week? Tremendous episode. Got a bunch of great feedback. I'm appreciate you being on, man. But yeah, so the thing about education is, what is it offering you? It's offering you, first of all, an economic exchange. It's saying, hey, put the money in, get the money out, right? You put the money in now, you get the money out long term over the course of your life. And they trump this statistic, right? They throw this statistic out there that says the average college graduate earns $1 million more over the course of his or her life than a non-college graduate. Okay, so let's just look at that statistic. First of all, that's based on like a 30, 40-year career, right? Which means they're basing that data off of people that were in college 30, 40 years ago. 30 or 40 years ago, college diplomas were much less common. There was a much bigger disparity between people who went to college 30 or 40 years ago and people who didn't. But for them to put that statistic out now, to use a 1980 statistic in 2020, highly irresponsible, highly misleading. Who uses statistics in misleading and deceptive ways to create relevance and to create, help you draw conclusions about what's supposedly relevant now, but isn't? That's scammers. Scammers do that, right? Yeah, Jeff points out this statistic I say all the time: $200,000 in tuition to get a Harvard University education right now. 12 years out of school, you'll be making $80,000 a year. Would I be a total dick if I said that I'll probably make $80,000 a day? Maybe, I don't know. And I'm a high school dropout. And yes, college was also a lot more affordable back then. So there's two things they promise you. They promise you the money in, money out exchange, right? You put your money in now and it earns you this, extra $1 million over the course of your lifetime, which is so not true right now. I don't have the statistics of what is true, but I know that statistic isn't true. The reason I don't have the statistics is because it takes 30 or 40 years to develop the statistics, right? We won't know until 2050 the of getting a college diploma today, but I guarantee you it's not $1 million discrepancy, especially when you consider the opportunity cost, or not even opportunity cost, the actual cost of paying off student debt. Average college student doesn't get their student loans paid off now until their late 40s. Their late 40s. They spend 25 years out of college not even being able to earn what they earn from the job that they got supposedly because of the college degree, because they have to turn around and pay off the student debt. The average college student renegotiates their student debt like 3 times. They have to keep getting extensions. They're not even able to start paying it off until 4 years out of college. They graduated 22. They don't start paying their student debt till they're 26, because it takes 4 years just to get a good enough job to even be able to start knocking away at your debt. But supposedly that receipt called a diploma was going to help you get such a great job in the first place. Well, why does it take people 4 years to be able to start paying off their debt if they get such a great job right out of college? College is a scam. Look, it is. At the prices they charge for it, you have an easier time trying to bulk up on king crab. If you're a bodybuilder and you're trying to gain muscle, lean muscle mass, it's probably more affordable to make king crab, fresh king crab, your primary source of protein than it is to try to make a high-end college education your primary driver of your future income. I'm just saying. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate that. Anyway, so that's my take on that. And then the bigger, I don't know, the other part of the exchange, and I guess they tie together, but it's like some kind of, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You're going to have this retirement someday because of that job that you got, because of that college degree. Look, you guys tell me, who here has a college diploma and is on track to retire with a minimum of a $5 million net worth at 65 because of their income from their job? I know that there's a lot of people listening that have college diplomas. One person who can raise their hand and say, because of the job that I got with my college diploma, I have a reasonable prospect of retiring at 65 with a net worth of, they say you got to make 12 to 15 times. You have to have a liquid net worth at 65 of 12 to 15 times the highest level of income that you achieved during your career. So project forward that job, and let's say that you're going to get to 100 grand a year. And they say you got to have 12 to 15 times. So they're saying you got to have between 1.2 and 1.5 million dollars to retire. First of all, that's hogwash, because they're using today's dollars to talk about where you're going to be in 20, 30, 40 years. Plus, that's assuming $1.5 million earning a conservative 5-6% return. What are you making, 75 to 90 grand a year? Is that right? Am I doing the math right? Yeah, that's about right. Look, you're not living high on the hog. What happens when you get sick? What happens when you get arthritis? What happens when you just want to play golf? What happens when you want to help your grandkids go to college? All this stuff, you got to have. Yeah, I'm not, by the way, you guys can't see all the threads. I see Instagram. I see 2 different Facebook groups, a Facebook group and a Facebook page, and I see YouTube. I have not had one person say that they could even retire with 1.5 million, much less what I believe is the 5 to 10 that you actually need to be solid in this world, especially where the world's headed right now. I don't know one person. Degree. Thank you, Catherine. By the way, thank you guys for being so honest, so transparent. So this is what I got here. Ooh, this is good. That's good. I'm going to have to come back to that. This one says, degree, yes. Set for retirement? Hell, I'm not even set for next month, says Catherine. Thank you, Catherine, for your transparency. Brian says it's a big scam. Jeff says it's indentured servitude. Marie says my daughter's in her master's program, still paying off huge student loans. She's a teacher. I would love to pay it for her. I would love to pay it for her. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff that you can do when you ditch the scam mindset of like just eke it out a little bit at a time. Just compound that what is it, 2.8 or 3.0% annual growth, annual raises that they give you that don't even keep up with the cost. They lag about 0.5% a year below the cost of inflation. So even with raises, you still earn less buying power. I'm not gonna say you earn less money. You earn less buying power year over year in the job. Listen, I gotta be on an interview in 1 minute. Is ENTRE a scam? ENTRE is the anti to the scam. I'm going to be back tomorrow with a little more time. I don't have to cram in an ad video shoot. So I'm so grateful to all of you guys. It is a dream come true to have this community in my life. And I believe we got so many big things in store. Oh, I wish it was responsible for me to tell you, but it's actually responsible for me to wait, under promise, over deliver, and show you as the stuff emerges. But we are doing so many cool things. And I'm so grateful that we're all doing it together. All right. I'm going to hop to my interview. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.